Hi, I'm Joanne Schiffers with Remax Imperial in Hazlitt. Not only am I a full-time realtor, but I'm Italian. So what does that mean? I love to cook. We'll be discussing today that age-old controversy. Is it sauce or is it gravy? Or is it gravy or is it sauce? So this recipe was handed down from my grandmother to my mother to me. I'm going to go over some of the ingredients that are involved, starting with the meatball recipe, which takes me back to when I was a little kid and my mother would sit at the kitchen table, tell me go get the chopped meat out of the refrigerator and tell me each ingredient that I had to run around the kitchen to get. Chop the onion, do the garlic, the breadcrumbs, the egg, and sometimes the chopped meat was still cold from the refrigerator that she'd probably taken out of the freezer from the night before, that my fingers were frozen from mixing and making all the meatballs. Today, fortunately, I had my KitchenAid, so we are good. Okay, so in addition to the chopped meat, please set aside some of you can make your own meatball recipe, that's fine. Just remember to set some of that meat aside for the base of your recipe. We also have a half a cup of onion, chopped onion, 3 cloves of garlic. My spices are salt, pepper, oregano, and bay leaves. Remember to remove those bay leaves before you serve the dish. They're not for eating, they're just for flavor. I have some already browned neck bones and pork sausage, a little wine for the base, which I'll show you how to use. It goes into the pot when it's very hot, so it boils off any alcohol content, only leaves the true flavor of the wine behind. It really adds a nice depth to the dish. A little olive oil to get the onions and garlic going, and my tomato products consist of 3 cans of crushed tomatoes, 1 medium can of tomato sauce, and 1 can of tomato paste that will be part of the base. Okay, and let's get started. So over a medium flame, add about a tablespoon of olive oil. Because they take a little longer, I add my onion first. And I like to keep my ingredients somewhat segregated in the pot so I can keep an eye on their progress. And I will put my meat in here, sort of flatten it out, try to brown it a little quicker. And then I put the tomato paste in. A little secret, because tomato paste is so thick, I take the can opener and I pop a little hole in the bottom, and the air allows me to get most of that paste out. Okay, so we take that out and put that in there. To me, this is the most important part of a good sauce, is how the base is established. And then the last ingredient I add, only because it cooks so quickly, is the garlic. So I'll wait. When I feel that these are just about maybe 3/4 of the way cooked, then I'll put the garlic in, because it cooks very quickly. And the last thing you want in your sauce is burnt garlic. I like to get everything really, really browned, where it's almost adhering to the pot, because that base is going to emanate through the whole sauce while it's sauteing and cooking. After I put all my tomato products in, and it's cooking for 3 hours, the remnants of that base are going to just fill that whole sauce with flavor. So this is a labor of love. This is not a quick meal. It does take about 3 hours to get a good flavor out of your sauce. Longer the better. Okay, so everything is progressing nicely. It's important that your paste is very brown. You don't want the raw tomato paste. I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic. I'm going to add a little bit of oil here in the corner here. And add the garlic. And just keep an eye on that garlic. You do not want to burn the garlic. And then what I do is I spread it out along the bottom of the pan and continue to let it cook. Back in the day, we used to have the Farberware pots that didn't have all these special coatings, and the food used to really stick to the bottom of the pot. And my mother used to say that the most important ingredient in the recipe, I'm trying not to be specific here, is the burn. But I don't want people saying, oh my God, I have to burn the sauce. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you really want this base cooked to the point where you feel like you can't cook it a moment more. You don't want to burn it, but it needs to really be well done, because that is going to add all your earthy flavor to the recipe. So I feel the time is right that we add about a quarter of a cup to a half a cup of wine. The pot is hot enough that it'll sizzle at the bottom of the pan and will burn the alcohol content off, and all you will have left is just the flavor of the wine. And again, you see I don't measure, I just pour it in, I sort of feel my way around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my bay leaves out of this, but I'm going to go ahead and add my spices in, because I want to make sure they're blended into the base. So I have salt, pepper, and oregano blended in here. So I'm going to take my cans of crushed tomato, pour them all in. Okay. As well as my can of tomato sauce. And then what I do, I'll blend this in. I want to get that base off the bottom of the pot. Blend that in. And then I add equal amounts of water. So for 1 can of crushed tomatoes, you're going to add 1 can of water. And then I will add that. And what you want to do at this time is increase your flame, because you want to get, now that you're adding the water, you want to get everything boiling. At this time, I'm going to throw the bay leaves in there. Again, remember, please do not serve them. You don't want to eat those. They're just for flavor. And now we're going to add the meat. Going to put all the meat that you browned in the pot earlier back in the pot. You're going to then increase the heat. Once the sauce starts boiling, you're going to lower your flame so that it just simmers, and you're going to let that cook for 3 to 4 hours. Be careful with your meatballs. It's important to brown your meatballs before you put them in. It helps seal all the flavor in, and then they don't fall apart. And I like to actually, once the boil gets going, I like to lower it and leave it uncovered unless it's splashing all over the place. I like to leave it uncovered. It actually helps thicken. If the moisture is able to release from the pot, it thickens up the sauce more. Okay? See you in 3 hours. Back. It's been 3 hours and it's been cooking fabulous. It smells delicious. All the meat is fully cooked and it's nice and thick. And here's a meatball, as you can see, and we're ready to serve. So tell me how it came to be you call it sauce or gravy, and please share your funny Italian cooking stories. I would love to hear them. But remember, I'm still a realtor, so if you have any questions about buying or selling, or would like to know what your house is worth in today's market, please give me a call. And remember, whether you do call it sauce or gravy, we can all agree it's delicious. Bon appetit.